Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan. I'm here to talk with you, speak with you, share your insights, share my insights and information about what works and doesn't work in relationships. Who we are is known by the relationships that we have. There's who you are for yourself privately. There's also who you would like to be or who you pretend to be, your social mask. And then there's who you are as you are known by others, as others relate to you. It is in those relationships that we actually live. We don't live in our heads. We don't live in our personal opinions of ourselves. We live out in the world. We live out in the world and in the day-to-day relationships we have with other human beings. And those human beings have been trained by you. In my world, the people that I meet on an everyday basis are trained by me how to relate to me. Are you an angry person, a happy person? Are you a person who always gets things done? Are you a person who is related to by others as someone who always keeps their word? When they say something, that's really how it's going to be. If they say they're going to do something, they do it. When they say they were going to do it. Is that you? Are you a person that people trust? Are you a person that people seek out in order to share your wisdom and insights with? Or are you a person who's always needing something from somebody else? So it is really in your relationships with other human beings, with the other people in your life, that you get to know who you are. You get to find out how the rest of the world is relating to you. And in that sense, relationships are actually the most important part of your life. Even if you say, well, I don't have any relationships and I don't want any relationships and I like being alone, then that is your relationship to the world. Notice that your relationship to the world is that you are withdrawn, withheld, that you're not sharing who you are, and you're not sharing the magnificent gifts that you have been given. Each and every one of us holds a key, holds a purpose, and holds a part of the overall genius that is humanity. The overall genius that wants to be expressed in life through you, and you are a unique emanation of that intelligent life force that can only be expressed uniquely through you. And so if you don't express that, if you don't give that to the world, if you don't fulfill that, if you don't share that with others, then that gift will be lost, it will be diminished, and humanity will be all the poorer for that. The whole purpose of this show and all of the work we do at Embrace Growth is to have you expand into your fullness, into your happiness, into your well-being, your health, your wealth, so that you actually make a difference in the world, that your life makes a difference for the people that you meet on an everyday basis, whether you'll ever see them again or not. So already we have a caller coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and take this call. Hello, this is Gregory. You're live on the air with Love Talk.
Hello, how are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. How are you today? Where are you calling from?
Calling from Iran. How can we recognize that someone is telling a lie? And what are the gestures, actions, and reactions of a liar?
Well, that's a good question. There's a lot of training about that. I'm one of the people that are very highly trained in that. I can hear it in a person's voice and how they use the syntax, in other words, the pacing and use of language, for one thing. But when you can see them eye to eye, then you pretty much, unless they're like, I have met some brilliant liars in my life. I have met some people, there are people who are so good at lying, I would say that they're psychosocial. They're somewhat sociopathic in their thinking, and so they actually believe their own lies. So for that person, they weren't even telling a lie. They were telling you their version of the truth, and so it's very difficult to detect that kind of a liar. You have to sort of ask a few questions so that it boxes them in. There's a technology I teach to my staff at Embrace Growth to kind of find out if somebody's telling them the truth about something. And so it's a little more training that I can do on a phone call, but the very best way that I would suggest to you, unless you want to go actually get some training in neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis, there are eye patterns that show you where a person is looking in their consciousness to say what's coming out of their mouth. And the eyes are very difficult, it's very difficult to fool your own eyes. It's unfortunate that you can't see me because I'm about to teach you something that has to do with the direction of the eyes.
I will see. If you want to do anything, please do, because I will see.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, great. So when a person is speaking and they look down and to their left, they are looking into their feelings, but they're looking into their memory about those feelings. They're looking in their memory about their feelings. So they may be speaking to you about something, but they're glancing down to their left, often, very often, looking at how they're looking into their memory. The left is usually about the memory. Sometimes they'll look horizontally to the left, okay? And they are listening. When they're looking left to the left, you're looking for words. You're looking for the right words, and so sometimes you will look to the left. And when you are looking up and to the left, it's so like to the upper left corner, you are looking at, you're trying to recall an image or a vision. You're trying to recall a picture in your mind. So it may, very often, for example, numbers are stored over there. So let's say you're trying to remember a phone number. You might store it in the upper left corner of the screen of your mind. If you imagine the mind being a screen, very often when I want to remember a person's name or a person's phone number or something like that, or something shortened like that, especially numbers, I will see the numbers in the upper left corner. I purposely, because I've been trained in that, store it up there, so that when I go to recall it, I just have to look up there and I can actually read it in my mind's eye, in my mind's memory. I'll see the number. So very often people, like if I ask you what was the color of the shirt you wore yesterday, you might look up there to try to remember what it looked like. You see? Okay, so now let's talk about the right. The right is the creative side that people look into, and when they're looking down and to the right, they're creating or making up something about emotions or feelings. So very often when a person will, you ask them how they feel, they'll look down. Sometimes people will look straight down and they're literally looking into their heart, they're looking into their feelings, into their body to see how they feel. Because feelings don't necessarily come up in words like that. Sometimes a person will glance, and it's very tiny. Sometimes it's a very tiny glance. And very good liars, their eyes hardly move at all. So looking down to the right is creating or making up or fabricating some words about some feelings. Looking to the right horizontally will be very often creating the right words, trying to make up the right words. It doesn't mean they're lying. Sometimes when I'm searching for the right words to say something, I notice I'll glance to the right as if the words were over there or something. Sometimes I'm trying to remember the right words. Sometimes I'm making the right words. You see? It doesn't mean somebody's lying. It just means that they're creating something right now. They're making up something or creating something. When they look up and to the right, like the upper right corner like that, then they are creating a vision or an image. They're creating a picture. So sometimes, you know, if I asked you, for example, how do you think I would look with purple hair? You might go, your eyes might make a small movement as you created an image of that in your mind and then spoke about it, you see? So these, you know, that is the quick 3-minute training on eye movements. You can look it up, and you can probably Google it under NLP and eye movement charts, something like that. And there's been a great deal of study done on this. And it's one of the reference points that we use when we're speaking with people in our private sessions or in our office. It's not so much that we're trying to figure out if they're lying, because why would somebody pay us good money and then come and lie to us? It would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? I suppose people do, but why would you go to a therapist to get better about something and then lie to them? It would be kind of a waste of your money and time. So I always tell people the only thing you can do to mess up this, to make it a waste of your time, is lie to me. It'll just be a waste of both of our time. Because then we spend time trying to figure out why they're lying and all that stuff, right? Instead of just tell me what's going on, and then we can work on that, right? Because I don't care. I'm not going to judge people. I never judge people. I know that people are great. I think they're awesome. I think people are good, and that people make mistakes, or they have behaviors or bad habits or addictions and problems. And so let's talk about those so that we can get them handled and get you back to the good person that you really already are. So I don't know if that's helped you with telling if somebody's lying, but the other thing is that as a woman, you have an instinct. You have an instinct, and you can look into somebody's eyes and you have a feeling about it. Now, if you've had a lot of bad memories of a lot of bad people lying to you, you may be looking for or listening for, is this person lying, instead of, I want to propose to you a higher level of listening, and that is listening for what's the truth. Just listen for the truth. Here's what I know about people. People lie. People lie all the time. People tell part of the truth, which is lying. They withhold the truth. So there's a lot of things that people don't say that are in the unsaid. And what I'm trained to listen for is, what is it that you're not saying, so that I can maybe ask a question about that. So a very good way to question people, if you think that maybe they might be lying, say something like, when you said that, I had a feeling like this, and then tell them what your feeling was. You might not want to go, I think you're a liar, or I think you're lying, but when you said that, for some reason I was left with some doubt. Can I just check this out with you? Get their permission to go deeper. In other words, you're asking permission to go deeper. Now, it depends on the level of relationship that you have with them. You know, some people, you know, if you're just meeting somebody on a business basis or on a formal basis, you don't really have people's permission to go deeper with them and check out whether they're lying to you or not. You have to rely on your own instincts. Yes, but if you're in a relationship with somebody, then by definition, you have not only the permission to go deeper, but a duty to yourself first, and to them as well, and to your relationship, to have an atmosphere and a communication that is honest. I don't know about you, I don't have time for dishonest relationships. I just don't have time for it. When I know somebody's lying to me, and I politely inquire into it and they insist on lying to me, then I just find other more interesting things to do. I don't have time to toy around with and play with and pretend with people who are committed to having an untruthful, dishonest relationship with me. I'm just not interested. And so I propose that you have that same boundary in your life. I propose that everybody have a boundary like that in their life. How many dishonest people do you want in your life?
Zero.
Zero, right? Me too. I want zero dishonest people in my life. And listen, given that a lot of people are committed to not being honest, sometimes it gets lonely, because I kind of keep them at a distance. And I have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 friends that I know they will always tell me the truth. And if I feel like they're not telling the truth, I just tell them. I have a good relationship with them, and I just tell them, you're lying.
Yes, I know.
I have that kind of a relationship with them, and especially some of the men in my life, but particularly my wife as well, who, as a woman in my life, I don't even bother trying to lie to them if ever I wanted to. It's just useless because they know. So that's the kind of people I like to have around. If they ask me something and I don't feel like telling them the truth, it's too bad because I'm going to end up having to. I like having people like that in my life because it keeps me true. I think your friends should be the people who will tell you the truth whether you like it or not.
Yes, exactly. And why some people are addicted to telling a lie?
Yeah, well, you could say it's like an addiction, and that would be accurate. But it could also be misleading, but it's also accurate, so it's both. Sometimes it's the only thing they know, and I'm fully aware that in a culture where it may not be safe, politically, religiously, emotionally, it may not be safe to tell the truth. If you were against the government or if you were against a religion, I don't think it's a good idea to go around telling the truth about that.
No, some people are telling lies about a very simple thing in their lives.
Well, yes, and that's true. And my point is that, thank you for clarifying that. My point is that in an atmosphere where not being truthful is actually the right thing to do, you see, it's like kind of embedded in, even embedded in the language. You know, I've been studying Farsi and I'm learning Farsi, and while it's a beautiful language, there's ways of saying things that could mean other things, you see. I find it in the poetry and so forth, that Hafez and a lot of poets were actually saying something else, right? So in a culture and a language in which it's kind of maybe not, it's sort of embedded to be a little less than truthful sometimes, and even with the tradition of Torof, where it's actually you're saying things that are obviously not true, right? Clearly not true. I mean, you know, we say Gorbanitz to people that we hardly even know. Is that true? Would you really give your life for them? I don't think so. I mean, it's not true, but yet it's even almost a greeting. I think it's more of a habit. And can it become like an addiction? Yes, there are people that I know, and I have them in mind right now, that are compulsive about lying. In other words, given a simple thing, like nothing, you know, they will actually lie about it just because they can't help it. They're compelled to lie. And like you said, it's like silly, meaningless things that why would you bother? So,
exactly.
Yeah, so compulsive liars, I give them a lot of space. I kind of keep a distance from them because, like I said, I just don't have time for that. And I propose that if you know people that you know are compulsive liars, I got to ask you, why have them in your life at all?
You mean that they have fears to tell the truth?
Well, listen, it's not your job to go around fixing people, okay? It actually happens to be my job. I mean, I don't fix people because I don't think they're broken, but you know, unless you want to take that on, you're going to be busy for the rest of your life trying to fix people that are messed up. Compulsive liars are one of the hardest people on the planet to fix. You know, I don't even know why, you know, it's like, it's not my job. Now, if they came to me and said, listen, I am a compulsive liar, and I really want to clear that up in my life. I want to get to the source of what's going on with me. I want to cure that in myself, and I want to start a new way of being truthful. Will you help me? Here's my credit card. Okay, now I'll help them. Because it's my job, it's my career, and it's my pleasure to do that. You know, prior to that, I was going around trying to fix people all the time, and you know, you'll never run out of people that need help.
No, I'm just asking for my own life because for a lot of men who are telling lies to women to have to achieve their goals,
Yep.
their main goals, like
Yep.
having sex with them or.
Yeah, well, men have been doing that for centuries, and they're going to keep doing that. So
Sometimes
Yeah.
you know, even sometimes they look in women's eyes like Romeo, you know, but of course they are telling a lie about their eyes. And that's why I'm asking, because I saw a lot of kind of these men in my life.
Here's the thing, here's my question for you, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this next call. I'll leave you with this question, not that there's a correct answer, but it's something to examine in your own mind. What part of you actually really wants to believe the lie? Okay? There's a part of you that may want to believe the lies they're telling for your own purposes, because it serves some purpose in your own life. So take a look at that and let me know how that one goes, okay? All right. There may be some part of you that wants to or needs to believe them, and so you're sort of secretly hoping that they'll tell the truth, even though there's a deeper part of you that knows they're lying.
I have many I have many needs in my life, so
Yeah, there may be some need in you that is unfulfilled, and so one of the ways that you look to fulfill it may be through having relationships with men. And this is an interesting thing, okay? And I've talked about it on the show before. Whatever level of spiritual, emotional, mental, and psychological development that you are at this time in your life, regardless of who's listening, you are sending out signals to your environment. You're sending out subconscious mental, emotional signals that other people pick up on. There's a lot of conversation going on in the silence without words between people. From the instant you walk into a room and you see somebody, there's a communication that takes place instantly, okay, whether you say any words or not. And if you're signaling at whatever level of development that you're at, you will attract people who are at your level. You won't attract people from a higher level or a lower level necessarily, sometimes from a lower level, but you will not attract people from a higher level, and you will be attracted to people who are on the same sort of level of frequency that you're on. If there is some part of you that is kind of saying, lie to me so I'll feel better about myself, or something like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if there's some part of you that is ready to believe a lie, then you will attract people. Men can pick up on this. Men act stupid, but they're not. They're not stupid at all when it comes to things like that. Men are hunters, and you are the deer that they are hunting. So if a man was hunting a deer, he would put on stuff that smells like a deer. He would wear clothes that look like bushes and trees, okay? He would hide his gun in some wrapping so that it didn't look like a gun. He would make calls and sounds that make the deer interested in coming closer. Men are very clever. They're hunters, they're fishermen, they're warriors. They know, they're tricksters. They're very smart when it comes to getting what they want. So you're the deer that they're hunting. They know what to say, they know how to smell, they know how to look. They know how to dress, they know how to act to make you come and believe whatever they say. They know what to say. So that doesn't make them bad, they're just trying to get what they want. They've always done that. As far as I can tell, they always will. All right? So
all right. Thank you very much.
It's your job to like have boundaries in your own mind and in your own life in which when you have a sense that somebody's lying to you, you're probably right. If you feel like somebody's lying to you, chances are you're right about that.
Yes.
Okay? And you have every right as a woman who is looking for a partner or mate, if that's what you're doing, to choose, you know? And, you know, you can let a guy know, look, the only thing I will not tolerate is if you lie to me. Don't even try. That's the one thing that I won't put up with.
Is it working?
Try it. Let me know how it works.
Sure. Next time I will tell you.
All right. My wife was like that. I found out right away that I better not even try to do anything but tell the truth. If I was late to pick her up and I made up some excuse, she would just go, "That's BS. You didn't leave your house on time. That's what the problem was." Okay? You didn't make this date with me be important enough that you made sure you did whatever it takes to not be late. That's the truth. And, you know, now I'm an honest enough person to say, okay, you got me there. That's right.
Okay,
and if I had insisted, no, there was traffic and something else happened, if I tried to tell some excuse or lie, right, the truth is, I didn't make it important enough to be there early and to make sure that I wasn't late. I just didn't make it important enough, and I didn't leave on time. That was the truth.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So she insisted and trained me or taught me right away. That's how I will relate to you. If I told her the truth, it was like, okay, I respect that. Please don't do that again. It hurts my feelings. That was honest, right? She was then honest with me. It hurts my feelings. I feel unimportant to you. If when you're late, it makes me feel like I'm not important to you. That's truthful. Most women aren't that truthful. The guy shows up late, says some stupid excuse. They go, okay, which is a lie because it's not okay. And then they go, it's all right, sweetheart, blah, blah, blah. And the whole rest of the evening is about that lie. And you've just given him permission to lie to you some more because, hey, he got away with that.
Yes, telling a lie is wasting time.
Yeah, so if you know somebody's lying to you, say, look, you know, now I had the kind of relationship with my wife, Azita, that it was like, let's tell the truth, right? And so she would just say, I don't believe that. And I appreciated that about her. I go, okay, that's a woman I can respect, you know? You're right. I made up an excuse, right? And then I'd have to pay the price. Listen, the phone lines are lit up. Thank you. I appreciate your question. I'm going to move on to the next call, and they're also telling me I've got to need to take a break here. All right. Hello, this is Gregory. You've been holding on the air for a long time, so thank you for holding.
We separated a couple of years ago, and instead I regularly see my daughter.
Yes. You regularly see your daughter, okay. How old is she?
She's a teenager now.
Okay. You've been separated from your wife in 2 years, and you've been out of Iran since 2002?
More than 2 years. It's around 3-4 years. Yes.
Okay.
And now in this situation, I just feel that I like to go back to my country. I don't really enjoy anything in here. I think I like to spend a couple of years with my mom and with my family.
Okay. How old are you, sir? How old are you, sir? I was trying to get an idea of what country you're in, because it sounds like you're calling from a very long distance, and also your age.
Yes, actually, I'm Iranian, and I'm calling from England, and my age is 47.
Okay, great. That helps me a little bit know who I'm talking to. That's all. And so you want to go back to Iran and spend some time with your mom before long. In other words, you want to go back.
I know, and we know actually that the situation is not very great in Iran, but. I mean, in the end of the day, you can't deny that we got a family over there, we got life over there, and
yes,
this is our country. Whatever situation is there. So
what's your question, sir?
My question is, in this situation, I'm in a doubt whether I still got some responsibility to this child in here. I should stay. I know that she doesn't live with me, and just once a week I see her for a day. But or I've got the right, to have my own life, go and spend a couple of years the way that I like, go back to my country, or just.
I understand. I understand your dilemma. There's your loyalty to your mother and your family over there in your country, and there's also the loyalty to your daughter.
Yes.
Yes. I will say this: daughters need fathers a whole hell of a lot more than mothers need sons. If you're trying to weigh in the balance who might need you the most, your daughter will. Your daughter is I don't know how old she is, but until she's a woman and she's met a man that would be a man that you could respect, have him take her into his life, into his home, then I think you might want to stick around and make sure that she knows that you're always there for her.
Yes.
I'm sure there's ways of going to Iran and coming back, even though it might be expensive, without going away for 2 years and moving in and living over there and staying there. And you mentioned this in the beginning of your conversation. I don't think it's necessarily a great place to go live right now.
Imagine your country, America.
Yes.
If it was like the situation that we got now in Iran, but still, you would.
Of course, you're right.
To live there, you would love to be with your family. I mean, regardless of what situation is your country, because completely different things. I know that I can bring some excuses. Now my country is not very good. The situation is not good. The government is not very great. How can I?
Yeah, but let's don't get into that, because that's a whole other conversation that is geopolitical and economical, and your question is more about something in your heart, very much more personal to you, which is about your daughter. Well, here's the thing. This you asked my advice, and this is what I have to say to you.
Yes.
When a man chooses to marry and have children, he chooses, sometimes not consciously, but sometimes unconsciously, but what the choice actually means. Those choices have consequences and they have reward, of course. In other words, positive and negative consequences. And when you choose to have children, when you choose to be a parent, whether you're a man or a woman, but in this case you have said, I will put my wants, needs, desires aside for the sake of the greater good, in this case, the greater good of this child that I'm sending into the world, who is not yet an adult. She's a young person, and you said she was a teenager. Those are very difficult years, especially for a girl, I think.
Yes.
And
Yes.
The world is full of girls who haven't had a good father. And guess what happens to those girls? They make lousy choices of men for husbands. They make lousy choices. I know literally tens of thousands of women that we've met with, talked with, done seminars and workshops with over the years who've made lousy choices because their father, not only because their father, but a lot of times because their father wasn't a strong presence in their life that they could look up to, admire. Do you know how she's going to choose a husband? She's going to choose a husband that is either just like you or who is as far from being like you as possible. But either way, who you are as a father, as a man, as an example of manhood in her life will influence her relationships with men for the rest of her life. And right now is a crucial time. At a place where she's starting to look at men and, maybe too much, right? They're teenagers. But she's starting to consider what it would be like to be with a man and to share her life with a man. And, if she's like most little girls, she's hoping to find that one guy. And she will be looking for certain qualities in him, whether she knows it or not, whether she recognizes it consciously or not. She will be looking for certain qualities that are the better qualities that you have embodied. And she'll try to avoid certain qualities which are the lesser qualities that you have embodied. Or she'll find a guy with all of those bad qualities and trying to fix them so that she'll somehow resolve her relationship with her father, which is incomplete. So please get your relationship complete with your daughter. You're not done yet, and how I know is you're asking this question. You wouldn't ask this question if it was 100% complete with your daughter. You already said, I know she needs me, but. When you said that, everything that you said after but is what you really want to do. I know she needs me, but I want to go this, that, and the other. You just took away your responsibility and said, I know I have this responsibility, but I want to go do what I want. That's what a child does. A man doesn't do that. A man says, this is my responsibility and I'm going to see it all the way through to the end. I don't care what it costs me personally. I chose to be a father and this woman's counting on me. And you don't give up on that, ever.
Yeah. I've got actually what you said about my daughter, I've got it. But one more thing is about myself is really, Dr. Diaz. I really don't enjoy living, in the foreign countries anymore.
I understand.
I don't enjoy, earning money. I don't enjoy working in here. I don't enjoy education in here. I don't enjoy, relationship with the people, talking to people. I don't enjoy that. I don't know if I just carry on like that. I know. I get weak and weak every day, and I don't know whether I can carry on or not.
I know. You know why they call guys that get in their mid-40s a midlife crisis? Do you know why they call it that?
No.
It's not a crisis for you. It's a crisis for everybody in your life, right? Because around mid-40s, guys they look back at the last 20 or 30 years of their life and they go, you know what, I gave already. And it looks like I got another 10 years to go of this putting my wants and needs and feelings aside, and I've just had it. I can't do it anymore. I've had enough of this. I don't want it. You're not the only guy that goes through that. Men go through that. As far as I can tell, all men go through that. Okay? They call it a midlife crisis because those guys, us, I did it too, create crises in our lives. Now, some guys go out and get a girlfriend or a mistress or a sports car or do other things to try to make themselves feel better. A lot of times a man will get a divorce or whatever. It's very common for men of that age to abandon their responsibilities. It's very common. Now, you could be one of those guys, right? You could be one of those guys, or I tell you what, I'm coming to London and I'm going to do something called the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop. And there's already about 40 or 50 guys, I think, that are going to be there, men from England and all over Europe. And it's about mastering the distinctions of honor and integrity in your life. And what I have found from my own failures and from my own experience of working with thousands of men is that where men suffer the most is when they haven't lived up to or fulfilled their own potential or lived by their own standards and values. When you throw your values out to try to feel better, what happens is you don't end up feeling better.
Yes. You know, but doctor, the 4 years ago, the situation was completely different. 4 years ago, before separation, I felt the most, the most happiest man in the world, the happiest man in the world. I didn't care about anything.
And
Always,
then what happened?
Yeah, and then once a year I could go to Iran to see my family, being happy over there, and then come back in here. So after that, after separation, I just found that everything is meaningless. To be honest, it's not really. All I can see is real is my mom and my daughter. And then my family, I can't see anything meaningful, really.
There's a sudden change in perspective. I totally understand that. I've been there, so I'm not brushing it aside at all. It's serious. When that happens, it's like, what is the meaning of my life? Because when you were 20, you had a meaning for your life that you chose, even if what you chose was, I'm going to be a great husband, I'm going to have a great wife, I'm going to build a family, a business, I'm going to make money, I'm going to send my kids to college or whatever, right? That's a totally honorable purpose for your life, and it's the purpose that many men have. And then something happens, right, as we get older, and that purpose no longer fulfills our life. Then we begin to wonder, what the heck happened, right? I gotta do something else, and I gotta get out of here, and like that. Yeah? Yeah, I've been there. It's a difficult thing to be, and everybody else says, hey, you got responsibilities, just keep your responsibilities, what's the matter with you, and like that. So I'm telling you this, and I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell you a workshop, because that would be dishonorable, that would be cheap, right? That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get you to see something, because I've been down that road, and I know what's down that other road, that one where I threw my responsibilities away and went off and did what I wanted. I didn't end up being happy and fulfilled. In fact, I ended up being kind of ashamed of myself. And I didn't do anything bad. It's just that I threw away something that hurt other people and that was important to them. And I see it. I have a 42-year-old son. Right? We were all good. We were best buddies, all this stuff. But now we don't talk so much, right? And I know that that's because there's something in his heart that got hurt when I left his mother and him and went off and did my own thing, and then I eventually remarried and all that stuff. And it never ends up feeling really great, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is that it's possible for a purpose in your life to be fulfilled. In other words, okay, I did that. I got the family, I got the thing, I got the house, I got the money, I got the kids, I did all that, and I did the best I could. And that may be absolutely honestly true. You did the best you could, right? Yeah. Did you hold back or pretend? No, probably not. You probably gave your best, however good that was. And then you start to look around and go, but what about me? What's the meaning of my life? And this is the pivotal point that I want to tell you.
And I spent another 10 years, 20 years in here, just carry on like this, because I've got a house in here, I've got the job in here, good paying and everything. I can carry on another 10 years, 20 years in here. I don't know whether I'll be able to carry on another 10, 20 years like this or not. And then I just lost being with my mom, at least for a couple of years, or with my family. And
I understand.
I don't know really. I'm going to wasting my time in here or not.
Yeah, I understand. And these are important questions, and I'm so admire that you're calling and asking these questions. So I deeply respect it. I want you to know that what's calling you is another level of men's development that most men don't ever get to. There's levels of development, in stages of development in men's growth and development. One of them is like, do you ever see the knights of old? Like, well, in England, right, they had knights, and there was a page that would bring him his horse and carry his sword and help him on with his armor, right? They called him a page. And that's a very young age, and you might have had a man that you looked up to at that age and said, I'm going to be like that guy when I grow up, right? And then there's the age where you are sort of a knight. That is, what a knight does is they go out and they conquer things. They conquer women, they conquer businesses, they conquer real estate, they accumulate wealth and so forth. And then there's a level that is like a king, where you have your little kingdom, you have like your house and your family and your business, and you're very well respected and so forth. And then there's another level that a lot of guys don't ever get to, because that king thing can get worn out right? That can get old. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But there's another level, and this is the level that I want to tell you about. There's a level called sage, where you actually become a wiser, older man that through overcoming your own weaknesses, your own foolish or childish desires that are selfish desires. In other words, by dedicating your life to a purpose that's greater than yourself, where you give to life from your experience and your wisdom rather than try to go get something from your life, then when you attain that level of wisdom and purpose in your life, an abundant amount of things begin to happen for you. And those petty concerns that used to torture you are no longer part of your life. The purpose of the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop is to cause greatness in families, careers, and communities by mentoring men to live lives of excellence as mature, masculine leaders, and to inspire each man to be the man he wants to be, so that his love of humanity drives him to leave a legacy of honor for future generations. That's why we do the workshop, and that's my promise to men, is that you will live a life of excellence and leave a legacy of honor for future generations. Your love of humanity and your love of yourself and your love of your family will drive you to do that. When you get connected with your purpose, then you will want to mentor other men and other daughters and the people in your family, and they will look to you as an elder, as a wiser man who has handled his life wisely. And you'll be proud of that, but not in an egotistical kind of way, just that you're just not ashamed of your life. You're something to be proud of.
Okay.
And so I propose that you find out about that as much as you find out about the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop later on in the show. I'm going to talk about the times and all that kind of stuff, and we'll share that with people and give you an opportunity to find out more about it. But you can always find out about it at embracegrowth.com as well, or by calling the office. Okay?
That's great.
Thank you. Will you do me a favor? Will you please let me know either through email or call the show again or something, and let me know what you've decided to do about this daughter thing and going back to Iran. I think that there's a way for a wise man that's living his purpose to have both. You don't have, it doesn't always have to be one or the other. How could you have both? Okay?
Yes. Yes.
All right, my friend. Thank you for calling. Thank you for your trust.
Thanks for your time. Thanks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to take the opportunity to share with other men who I know must be having a similar circumstance, because in my work with men I discovered, and in my own work with my own life, I've discovered that the most troublesome thing, the most challenging thing, and yet the most satisfying thing in a man's life is to live an honorable life. To live a life of honor and integrity means to live up to your own highest potential, to live up to your own values. And in every case in my life where and in your life too, really, where you have suffered the most is where you have compromised your own values, where you've compromised your own standards of living. And for most men, they live a life that is undefined, undistinguished. They haven't distinguished even what is it that I stand for? What is my life about? Who is it that I am as a man in the world, and what is my contribution? Really, what does my life mean? And then staying present in that means mastery. Mastery is not just like, oh, I distinguished that once when I was 20 and then again when I was 30. No, it's an ongoing process of distinguishing and noticing when the purpose of your life is shifting to something that is less than your standards, or when something has been fulfilled and it is time to play a bigger game, time to expand your horizons and take on even more as a masculine leader in your life. You don't ever have to worry about things. The only thing you have to keep your eye on, and the only question you really have to ask yourself is, what's the honorable thing to do? And you always know the answer to that. Sometimes you may struggle with it, and you may need to go to a wiser person and ask them, what's the honorable thing to do here? You know, I'm struggling with this, and that is an appropriate struggle for every person in their life, but particularly with men, because if you don't live an honorable life as a man, not only will you damage yourself and end up living a miserable life, but you'll make people around you miserable. And it's reflected throughout families, generations and generations down. And so I'm up to and standing for honorable men that leave a legacy of honor for future generations. And so that's what the purpose of the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop is to cause greatness in families and careers and communities by mentoring men to live lives of excellence as mature masculine leaders in their communities, in your homes, in your families. And to inspire each man, so that men are inspired to be the man that you want to be, so that your love of humanity will literally drive you, want to leave a legacy. In other words, what will be left when you're gone? What will your grandchildren say about their grandfather? You know, what do you say about your grandfather? What will your grandchildren be saying about you? What will your children or the people that you know say about you once you're gone? What's your legacy? What are you leaving in the world? And so that's what the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop is about distinguishing honor and integrity in your life, not mine, not my definition of honor, your definition of honor and integrity. And of course, I'll share with you what I think about that, and then begin to master those distinctions, to take them on in your life. And mastery is a lifelong path. It's not something I mastered it one day and then I forgot about it. No, it's something that's ongoing all the time. You're constantly expanding your ability to manifest these distinctions in your life and in your relationships. I want to thank the viewers for watching the show today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you. And I will see you back here again next week on Love Talk.
A man of character, responsibility, and resourcefulness. Become that man and join us on the journey towards manhood, finding a better person within. Embrace Growth is offering the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop in Toronto, Yerevan, and Los Angeles. Sign up today at embracegrowth.com and see the transformation in your life. The Embrace Growth app is finally here. You start by signing in just as you would online, and from there, you'll see all of your account settings. Once in the app, you'll have access to events and all of Embrace Growth's original content. Registering for workshops and seminars is easier than ever, and tools for managing your profile and options are built right in. Schedule private sessions and connect with the global Embrace Growth community. Download it today on the App Store. Welcome to the Embrace Growth app. There's a new way to communicate and join in. Create your free account online and sign into the app. Manage your profile on the go and choose between English or Farsi. Register for events and schedule appointments more easily than ever. Stream audio, video, and download books all over Wi-Fi or cellular. Sign up for workshops and seminars right on your phone. And access your audio and video library in the palm of your hand. Take your favorite lessons from Dr. Ozita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan with you. Download it today on the App Store. A haven for the weary soul, a source of inspiration and community, redesigned to bring you meaningful experiences and unforgettable events. We are a worldwide community of vibrant individuals, displayed in the people who are a part of it, from many nations, backgrounds, and beliefs. Through powerful outreach programs, the struggles of everyday life are confronted and conquered, transforming those who participate into the best versions of themselves. One-on-one sessions are available to keep you headed in the right direction, coupled with the best resources to remind you how to live, whether at home or elsewhere. Programs designed for men, providing the building blocks of maturity, commitment, integrity, and leadership, paving the way for productive and fulfilling manhood. Beyond an understanding of masculine leadership is its application in daily life and development into something truly unique. Exclusive training for women, encouraging growth and empowerment through an acceptance of their true identities, redefining interactions, and changing the viewpoint through which life is seen. Embracing the woman within and accessing facets of your personality hidden beneath the surface. Showing our youth the value of integrity and reliability by creating an indwelling desire to succeed with honor, basing the future on a solid foundation of ideals that will guide them through life, leading by example, and showing others how to clearly convey their thoughts in a compelling way, creating a culture of mature leaders who can help others achieve self-confidence and their goals. Real people and real lives are changed for the better. With every event, more are touched and come to an understanding of their place in this world and their community. Embrace Growth is run by a passionate team and led by the diligence and inspiration of Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan, who consistently teach life lessons based on what works, rather than the passing fads of the times. Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Azita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.
برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه شنبه ها و پنج شنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 6655. در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. محیطی مناسب و هیجان انگیز برای رشد و شکوفایی عشق، ازدواج و خانواده خلق کنید. زنی شاد باشید، قلب مردان را بشناسید و آنها را درک کنید. کارگاه آموزشی بانوان، اروپا، 20 تا 22 آپریل. برای ثبت نام با تخفیف ویژه پاییزی با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.